All right, today is an inspection day for my buyers here in Clermont, Florida. We just got this home under contract, and I'm here with my inspector, Omar, today. He's going to be showing us some of the issues he found, and stick around to the end. He's going to talk about the whole inspection process and why it's so important. This home is only a few years old. However, we always recommend getting an inspection done. And today you're gonna find out why. As you walk through this home, on the surface, it looks great. However, when you lift up the hood, we're gonna find a few things that you were probably not expecting. The buyer is out of state too, so she's really relying on us to make sure the house checks out and everything's good before we close, because we don't want any surprises after closing.
All right, guys, so we're here at our newest property we just got under contract with Omar, the best home inspector in the business. Omar, this house is 2022. Yeah. Why is it important to do a home inspection?
Yeah, regardless of the age, it's very, very important to always do a home inspection, and I'll show you guys why. Come follow me. Awesome. So here's the garage wall. It's concrete block. As you can see, there's very, very, very minor staining. It looks like it was recently painted, but it's still bleeding through. So we come outside to the home and we see that the irrigation is right up to the wall. These are not the 180 sprinklers. These things are spraying directly onto the wall. The home is from 2020, hasn't been painted, hasn't been sealed. So the paint has become chalky, faded. And you have settlement cracks. These settlement cracks are normal, happens to every single house here in Central Florida, just part of the settlement process. But because lack of maintenance to the exterior of the home, that water is seeping through the stucco and the concrete block and into the garage. And there's actually other points of entry in the interior of the home caused just from this. So let me grab a moisture meter real quick and I'll show you guys. Alrighty, we got a moisture meter. Show you guys. Come up here. Find the little spot, 31. And then you can see that our skin is 24%. So, we're what, 75% water?
Yeah.
So it's soaking wet. So that's something that needs to be attention. As we know, here in Florida, it rains every day. Sprinklers run consistently, especially now that we're kind of in a drought. Also, it's prone to having some type of fungal growth, mildew, mold. So to prevent that, this home needs to be sealed, it needs to be painted. And those sprinklers either need to be replaced or a diverter plate installed.
Guys, so I'm here with my favorite inspector, Omar, and I wanted to do a quick little interview with him. So Omar, why don't you tell us a little bit, how long have you been in the business for?
So coming up on 10 years, I started in 2017. I was licensed and took off from there.
Wow, awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
So what got you into the business?
Prior to home inspections, I was working in the performance racing industry.
Mm-hmm.
I was hurt in one of the races, and I figured it's time for a change. Got into it by a very good friend of mine, showed me the ropes, the in and outs of performing home inspections, and it came natural. From assembling high performance engines, making 1,000+ horsepower at the time, to construction, it came very easy to be able to dissect, problem solve, which is stuff that we learned in the previous industry. The performance in racing is all about problem solving.
Yeah, and that's what I love about you, man, is, you got so much knowledge. If there's any issues, you find out about it, and you're actually able to educate me and my clients on what's actually happening. And I think that's so important. So what, for the clients out there, like, what are some of the common misconceptions about what a home inspection is?
That's a good one, but a tough one to answer. Everybody has their own thought of what we do,
Mm-hmm.
why we do it, and how we do it. Sadly, the most clients don't really know what inspection is involved. Clients tend to really focus on very cosmetic, minor things that are not actual issues.
Yeah.
And as an inspector, we have to basically disregard those minor items and really dive in and focus on the important aspects of the home, because there's only really 5 things that are important, which is the structure, the plumbing, the HVAC, the electrical, stuff like that. That's important. A crack, paint, broken tile, that's very minor. That's a cosmetic defect. But what I do see is that clients become overwhelmed with cosmetic defects. And when you become overwhelmed with cosmetic defects, you tend to disregard the important things. Is the HVAC cooling? Is it heating? Is the plumbing draining properly? Those are things that need to be focused on.
Yeah, definitely. Those big ticket items, those
Absolutely.
can cost a lot as well. And we've been working together for 4 years, and actually used him for my home inspection. So that should speak volumes. And one thing I've really liked, and my clients have liked as well, is, and sometimes not so much, but in the end, I'm glad you've done it, is, we're out looking at 10 different homes and we find that perfect home.
Mm-hmm.
And during the showing, everyone's looking at the backsplash, the cabinets,
Mm-hmm.
the countertops, all the cosmetic things like you said. And then we go under contract and we lift the hood, so to speak, or you lift up the hood,
Mm-hmm.
and you really find a lot of things that, would have been devastating
Absolutely.
6 months down the road or even less. And we were able to, either have those addressed from the seller or just dodge a bullet. So I think for me, that's one of the most important things. And then just like you said, getting so much knowledge about what's important in the house, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roof, structure. So that's really good. And my last question for you, because there's a lot of misconception out there. Should the buyers be at the whole home inspection? Should they not be there? Should they just kind of show up at the end? Should they bring their dad from another state who, used to be in contracting?
Yeah.
What do you see with that?
Absolutely. So, it really depends on the situation, in my opinion. I'm always welcome for the buyers to attend the home inspection. I like meeting my clients, I like discussing, and I like learning about my clients. But it's also important to basically understand that you are working with a professional, and this professional has a lot of weight on his shoulders when he's performing this inspection. It's like a doctor. Are you going to be awake through your procedure and tell him, hey, what are you doing here? Or can you tell me how this is going? Same thing with mechanic or any professional. As that professional is conducting his business, he needs to be able to think, process information, make notes. And if he's being distracted, things are going to go wrong. Things are going to be forgotten, no matter how good this inspector is. Me personally, I prefer my clients to attend the inspection. But I do ask that, to allow me to work, perform, and do my job properly. At the end of the inspection, I don't mind spending an hour and a half. I spent hours sometimes with clients, showing them the home, showing them where the shut-off is, the electrical panel, this and that, how to work a thermostat. And, we enjoy this process as professional inspectors. We love educating, but we need the time to be able to dissect
Do the
this home.
inspection.
Exactly.
Appreciate that, because I always show up, especially for the second half of the inspection, and you've done those walkthroughs with my clients, and just for myself, I learned so much. And being a homeowner, I know more than most homeowners know about homes in the process, nowhere near the level you do. But working with more clients after that inspection and going through homes, I start to look at things like I see an electrical panel. I'm like, that electrical panel looks like
fishy,
it.
right?
So I'll snap a picture of it and send it to Omar, and I'll be like, yeah, that's not going to pass.
And that's being proactive, because now you walk in and now you have that knowledge. You walk in and you're like, okay, now I know I need $1,000 for this panel. Or I look at under the sink, see some great plumbing. You're like, all right, I know this home needs a repipe. There's no way the client can buy this home to get insurance because it's obsolete plumbing. It needs to be repiped. And that's just being proactive. And that's also taking advantage of the time that you're here with me. Not just talking to clients
scrolling
or
through TikTok or
exactly. And I tell all my clients, like, if you have any questions, just send me a picture. I'm always there to help. But it really does help and provide a better service to your clients.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Omar. That was great information. I'm going to put a link down below. This is Omar with Professional Property Inspections, the best in the business. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.